The last race for 2007, and the women are on the beach here in Eilat. There they go. That's actually Nicholas Spirik from Switzerland going down very quickly, 23-degree water temperature. Spirik going to have to try to make up a little bit of time here. It'll be a 2-lap swim. They'll come right back up onto the beach, and they're looking from the boat back towards the big hotels. You can see the women coming towards you. For Tani from Japan to the top of the screen, and that's Canada's Kathy Tremblay in the light blue just beside her. Tani keeping a very slow turnover, and she'll be back on shore about 9.5 minutes back in for the second swim. And the women coming very closely behind. Jodie Swallow having a great swim in there as well. Harrison into that bunch as she goes through. Carrie Lang, the Chinese, very well established as they come through. The Italians as well. The water almost rippleless out there, so the women are having some very fast swims. Air temperature just over 25 degrees Celsius, so some perfect conditions. Julia Ertel from the United States, the winner from the World Cup race in Cancun, into that lead group of 4 or 5, and you can see the women really have not differentiated themselves over the first 1,000 meters. A long season that began back in March in Mooloolaba, Australia, and nearly $2 million+ in bonuses being handed out here in the BG 2007 season. And the women now at the far end of the swim, you can see back towards the beach that they'll be heading. And they are still very tightly bunched together. Number 12, that's Jodie Swallow closest to us as the women now start to come back to shore. And you have to believe it is going to be a large group of women. That's Annabelle Luxford out of the water first, a great runner. Amanda Stevens from the United States for Tani. Carrie Lang, Swallow just coming through as well. Harrison through that bunch. There's Tremblay coming through. Julia Ertel back about 15 to 20 seconds. It's an over 350-meter run to the transition zone. 7 laps they'll be doing here on this 40-kilometer ride, and really the most distinguishing factor of this event will be the very steep 650-meter hill, about 7 to 9% grade, and that is Annabelle Luxford putting the helmet on. She'll have a very quick transition. Lost her for the middle part of the season with a foot injury, and she goes out. Amanda Stevens from the United States just beside her as well. And there is one of the young French athletes heading off right there. She's down by about 10 to 12 seconds. Sloane Borchette from France as the women head off, and you can see about 25 or 26 women very tightly bunched together. And that is Ellis from the United States up and pushing the pace. Annabelle Luxford wearing number 3 here today, the former number 1 ranked woman in the world in 2005 before she ran into a few injuries in 2007. Flat through the early sections, and then they'll make a very hard right-hand turn and start to climb. And the up and downhill sections have a few very difficult and technical aspects as they come around some roundabouts and a little bit of terrain difference. This is the women now just starting to make their climb up, and you can see already we're starting to lose a number of the women on that climb. That was Carrie Lang we just went by, so the women out of the saddle right now trying desperately to keep up the pace. The Chinese women being dropped towards the back. And as they come, that's Julia Ertel who's going to win the bike cream at the end of lap number 2. And still we have about 17 or 18 women together just coming through the grandstand. And a huge crowd have made their way out here in this tourist area. About 55,000 people live in Eilat, but almost double the number when all of the hotels are filled, and they have shut down the streets today for this World Cup race. Elizabeth May just coming into view there, the woman that had the bronze medal in Beijing 2 years ago, trying to get her season going towards the end of 2007. And they're down by about 50 seconds now, the main chase group, and losing some time. Annabelle Luxford up and climbing very quickly, and just behind her, Nicholas Spirik, who rides incredibly well, and camera never does justice to the magnitude of the hill, but you can see the effort being put out right there by Annabelle Luxford, who loves hilly courses, one of her favorite, Corner Brook, and that course was one of the toughest on the circuit. The women making their way back. You can see the city in the backdrop as our women are coming through right now. That's the chase pack, and they are down by over 75 seconds and continuing to lose time right now, so a little bit of frustration. Peterson from the United States at the back of that chase pack, getting her first World Cup debut. Coming off the bike, and that's Nicholas Spirik. So we have a large group of about 25 or 26 women. And Nicholas Spirik in red, who has never been on the podium before, going to see if she can use that great biking ability. See if the legs have something left in them to get out onto the run, and that is Annabelle Luxford just starting to rack the bike. Spirik will be first out, Elizabeth May, Mura heading out as well, Harrison from France, Kathy Tremblay from Canada just going through. There's Annabelle Luxford as well. And Sam Warner quietly been into that group. She needs a top 8 or 9 today to get second overall. Eilat from Japan really pushing the pace here very early on, and that is a woman who has never had a podium in a World Cup race, so she is in some very, very new territory. Jody Swallow getting a little bit of a water bottle from Annabelle Luxford. That's a nice gesture. Certainly not nearly as hot as it has been in some of the World Cup races in 2007, but the women still trying to keep the hydration at a very high level, and that is Nicola Spirik now starting to make her move as she is moving away from Eilat from Japan. Spirik, who has never been on the podium before, right now finds herself in first with less than 2 kilometers to go. Jody Swallow and Annabelle Luxford running side by side right now. Swallow was 4th at the World Cup race in Cancun just 3 weeks ago, so she's continuing on to some great form, and Annabelle Luxford, we have not seen her for a period of time. And here she comes. Nicola Spirik has absolutely put together the perfect day. She will end 2007 with her 8th top 10 in her season, a bronze medal at the European Championships, and most importantly, her first ever World Cup win. 2 hours, 2 minutes, 42 seconds, and an absolute elation as the young woman from Switzerland will claim her first ever World Cup victory.
I'm extremely happy. It was a great year for me. I had 8 top 10 in the World Cup. I'm 3rd. I have the bronze medal in the European Championships. I think it was a breakthrough year for me and couldn't have been better. I'm so happy.
I'm really happy to get back on the podium. It's been a little while and a bit of a mixed season, so glad to finish off the year with this race.
Nicola Spirik! Nicola Spirik being recognized by the huge crowd here in Eilat. And a woman who has never been on the podium gets to stand on top for the first time ever. What a great race for the Swiss Miss. Ide from Japan has her first ever podium, and Annabelle Luxford, the old veteran, gets on the podium one more time here in Israel.